He rebuked them because they are living a life of hypocrisy. As he said, you want to get the best seats in public gatherings. You pray in public as if you only know God. So it's more of a show outwardly but not inwardly. Now remember, we are born again from the Spirit, inner man from the Spirit out. But in the case of the Pharisees, it's more on what the people will see in the outside but not in the inside. That's why he compared them to the grave. So, number one requirement in order to be a true witness of Jesus Christ is to avoid hypocrisy. Now, what's the yeast? Well, many of you know what it is. You mix it to a dough bread, and then it will rise. As if you look at it, the bread is that full, but really it is empty inside. But outside, it's really delicious looking. It's full, but when you squeeze it, it's only as big as this. Well, I remember before when I was in the Philippines, I used to buy the pandesal every morning. That was my daily chores in the house. I had to buy the pandesal, and it was that big. And then slowly it became smaller, but then I noticed that it was the same size, but the moment you squeeze it, it becomes so small because there is yeast in it. Now Jesus Christ is comparing the Pharisees, or we who are supposed to be followers of Jesus Christ. In the outside, we might have the appearance of a good Christian. We might have the appearance of being honest and loyal to God, and yet in the inside, we're not. Now, many people do not want to go to church because their reason all the time is there are many hypocrites in the church, but there are also hypocrites. That is the common reason. They don't want to go to church because I see one person there who is a hypocrite. But really, we are living in this world, and there are times that we cannot be true to our witness. And our number one responsibility, therefore, is before we witness to others what God has done in our life, let us be sure that we have a right relationship with God. Let us be sure that we're not only doing it in the outside to show people that we look good because we are honest looking and trustworthy, but really, when no one is watching, then the real you will come out. And so the number one requirement is avoid hypocrisy. That's why in verse 1 he said, chapter 12, in the meantime, an innumerable multitude. Now, innumerable means you cannot count it, you cannot number it, of people had gathered together so that they trampled one another, and he began to say to his disciples, first of all, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Which is hypocrisy. Beware. The leaven. The leaven will make that bread dough become so big in the outside, but it's empty in the inside. So he said, beware. So that's the number one requirement of what it is to be a true witness of Jesus Christ. A small amount of yeast can affect a large amount of bread dough when they are mixed. Yeast was a common Jewish metaphor for an invisible, persuasive influence. In this context, yeast is referred to as a gradual increase of unbelief. This attitude reflects the whole nation of Israel during the time. And in here it tells us that Israel was warned, and his disciples too, that they should not be hypocrites, that it is wise to be not a hypocrite, because one day, if you are a hypocrite, it will always be known in the open. One day, it will be known. What is hidden will one day will be revealed. During this year, it's election year, and when these candidates start to proclaim that they are running for an office, they always want to show the good things that they have done. They always want to show the good side. But really, people started to investigate and look in their past and in their life. And you will be surprised that all of a sudden, there are revelations about this man. In other words, what I'm saying, what you have hidden, maybe in the past, will eventually be revealed. One day, there is one person who really knew your life and will come up in the open. One day, you were not aware that when you were doing things not right, there was one person who saw you but did not say anything. But when you started claiming that you are such a person, that person can no longer tolerate and can no longer accept it, and that person will come out in the open and will reveal everything what you have done. God will always reveal what we have done. Amen. I know it from experience. I was once like that. I wanted to cover up. You know, when I was in the world, we were trying to cover up everything. But one day the dust will be gone and the real thing will come out. That's why it's not good to be a hypocrite, because eventually everything will be revealed. And so this is the first requirement of what it is to be a true witness of Jesus Christ. That's the reason why it's very hard for us to be a witness to our friends in the world, because they knew us when we were in the world. They cannot believe the transformation. They cannot believe the change in your life, because you were with them before and they cannot accept that you are a changed person. But once they see that truly you are honest and loyal to the Lord, then they will sense the presence of God in your life, and that's the time they come to believe that there is really a change in your life. Very good example is when the Philippine ambassador to the U.S. was my high school classmate. And we were together in high school, and we were doing many things not good in the eyes of God and in the eyes of our classmates. We were covering many things. We were dishonest. We write down our answers of the questions here in the palm of our hands, especially physics and algebra, because there are formulas. So we open our hand and we see the formulas and we get good grades, and sometimes we cheat. That day, we were doing it. There were many things that we were not doing that I don't even want to mention it. But we started covering everything. In the eyes of our classmates, in the eyes of other people, we were good boys. We were obedient boys, and we were doing things. We go to church every morning because we were required to go to church every morning. We go to the confessional box every week and repeat the same sins all over and over again. And when one day he was the Philippine ambassador to the U.S., and then I went to see him, and he said, "What are you doing here in the States?" And I said, "Well, this is what I'm doing." "You what?" "What?" I said, "Yes." And then one time I invited him, I don't know if you still remember, the old, oh, not the old, Those who are with us have been for